Hey, it's Michelle coming to you with some kitchen inspiration. I'm making chicken fajitas for dinner. I love fajitas, and I used to think that it was restaurant food and I would order it out in restaurants. And then when I realized how easy it was to make it home and how healthy it is, I switched and I make them home, and now I never order them out anymore because they're healthy and they're not expensive. So I got 2 pans going on my stove top. I'm going to use my grill pan with the press for my chicken, and I'm going to use my 5-quart 11-inch skillet for my peppers and onions. You could also do them together in the double burner grill, but I find that so much liquid comes out of the peppers and onions that it kind of drowns my chicken. So I prefer it to do it this way. All right, what's great about this recipe is it's super fast and it's really good. Okay, so first I'm gonna do is grab my 5-inch Santoku knife from my knife block, and I'm going to prep my onions and peppers. I'm only feeding 2 people, so I'm not making a huge quantity of food. So I've got one pretty large onion because I love cooked onions, and 2 bell peppers, any color you like. All right, and I'm just gonna give these a quick slice. And I already turned on my skillet. I'll drop those in there. I always start my onions first because I like them a little bit browner than the peppers. Peppers can have a little crunch, but I like the onions kind of cooked all the way through so they get nice and sweet. All right. And I'm going to season those up in a minute or two. At first, just letting them start working. Okay, so I got a orange and yellow pepper. I usually use red, but the store didn't have red. Most time when you go to a restaurant, you get green, but I'm not a fan of green. So I always cut my peppers from the bottom like this. Super easy. I'm gonna do that again over here. I love this knife. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not doing any sawing. I'm literally just pulling. You can either pull like that or you can push, whichever way you're comfortable with, but you don't have to saw. These knives are fabulous. I've had these ones for about 5 years, and I had the previous ones for 15 years, and now they're living in my daughter's kitchen. But if you need a good set of knives, talk to me, because you can get them half price when you host your own party, and that's the best way to get the whole set. All right, and they have a lifetime guarantee. All right, so we got peppers all cut up. Now I'm gonna use a mixture of spices. So I've got some of our chipotle rub. So I'm gonna put that on. I don't have very much left of that. And I'm out of the chili lime. So, and I kind of do it by any way I want anyway. But I usually do put some chili lime in. So I'm just gonna put some lime juice in later. This is our Southwest seasoning. And then I'm gonna use some of our everything taco. You know, they're all kind of Tex-Mex flavors, so that's perfect. All right, that's sizzling away, and just got to give that a few minutes to get going. All right, I forgot to get a fork. Let me grab a fork. So I have 1 large chicken breast that was in my freezer. So I defrosted it. Wow, it's really large. First thing I'm gonna do is grab a knife and do some trimming here, because I don't like anything white on my chicken, because when you cook it, that white stuff becomes the chewy, tough stuff, which I don't like. And if I'm eating chicken and I get that chewy, tough stuff, then I will stop eating chicken, because I don't like that. I don't like that texture. So always grab this piece right out of the middle there. And I just realized I want to turn my burner on. Do that. All right, so when you use the grill pan, you always want to preheat the pan, okay? So it gets super hot, just like you would preheat your barbecue outside, okay? Your outdoor grill. This is indoor grilling, so if you're gonna do indoor grilling, you want it to be similar to outdoor grilling in that you want to preheat it so it gets really hot before the food hits it. Let's flip this over and see. Yeah, there's a little bit more right here that needs to be trimmed. So I put it on almost as high as it goes, like medium to high, okay? With the press in the pan and let them preheat so they get really nice and hot. All right, let me get all this out of the way here. All right, so next thing I'm gonna do is prep this chicken. Look, it's a really fat piece of chicken, right? It's giant. So we want it to be a little smaller. So I'm gonna put a double layer of plastic wrap there just to keep it from making a giant mess in my kitchen. And then I grabbed my meat tenderizer. This unscrews and you can put the flat side down. So if you're doing something like crushing crackers or Oreos, something like that, or if you want to flatten meat without putting holes in it, you can flip that side down. For the chicken, I want to tenderize it while I'm doing it, so I'm going to leave those holes, okay? And the plastic does not go into the chicken. People always ask me that. They're like, don't you want to put plastic on your chicken? No, it doesn't. Just keeps it from splattering everywhere in my kitchen, you know? So you can skip that step if you want, as long as you don't mind sanitizing the whole kitchen afterwards. All right, so flip it, give it a hit on the other side. You don't want to pound this as hard as you can because then it's going to be too skinny. What we want to do is kind of break up any tendons that were left behind and flatten it. See how all of a sudden my chicken is evenly sized all the way across, right? It's not big and giant and fat in the middle anymore, which is very good because you don't really want it to be that way. If you leave it big and giant and fat, it's always going to be a skinny side and a fat side, and then you are going to have uneven cooking. And we're going to cook this chicken very quickly, so we want it to be nice and even. I'm giving it a very, very light olive oil, very lightly with my chef's basting brush. And the reason for that is only because I want, ooh, pounded that a little too much there. I want the seasoning to stick to the chicken, and if we don't oil it, the seasoning will just come right off in the pan, okay? So it's a very, very small amount of oil because this is not going to be fried chicken. This is grilled chicken. So I put I put everything taco on one side. So I'm going to put the Southwestern on the other side, okay? Just to give it a variety of flavors here. Let me take a look over here at my, there we go. Got my peppers and onions, they sound good. I put a little bit of olive oil in this pan before I put them in here, just because they will give out liquid, but you know, when they first go in the pan, they're dry. So it helps the seasoning kind of cover the whole, everything also. It's maybe a tablespoon and a half. I don't know, I don't really measure it, I just kind of toss it in there. Okay, so I've got my my pan, feels like it's hot, so I'm going to take the grill press and just put it to the side for a minute, and I'm going to, now this is a dry pan, okay? That's the noise you want it to make, so that it is going to make it taste like grilled chicken, okay? If it doesn't make that noise, the pan's not hot enough. I'll just get all the rest of this. Some little bits of chicken here. No point wasting them. We're eating fajitas, right? All right, I'm going to put this top on, and I'm going to set my timer for 4 minutes. And I just realized we forgot to open the window and put the fan on. It's really important when you're doing this. Okay, let me just wipe my counter real fast, and then I'm going to make guacamole with you because that's another vital ingredient for fajitas. I think fajitas without guacamole, man, they just don't taste like anything, right? They still taste good, but the guacamole makes them just that much better. All right, washed my hands, wiped my counter, and I'm going to put a new cutting board down. Nice clean cutting board. All right. So, ingredients for guacamole. Everybody has their own way of making it. I'm going to share my way of making it with you. 2 avocados. I'm going to grab my avocado tool. Use the serrated side to cut them in half. perfect. These were ripe about 2 days ago, so I popped them in the fridge. That's a little trick to keep them from getting overripe. See this side with the three teeth? If you put it on there and turn it, it'll take your seed right off. Yep, this one doesn't want to come right off, but it loosened it, so it'll just fall out. Okay. Then, so you have the serrated side and you have the non-serrated side. With the non-serrated side, because you don't want to cut yourself, just kind of go across and cube up your avocados. It did go right through the skin there. That's why we're using the non-serrated side. I would have cut my hand, okay? So you can see it broke right through there. All right, so we get those avocados in there. And I know it's kind of chunky. I like it kind of chunky, but I will stir it up and it will get smoother. Now, with only 2 of us eating, I'm just using 2 avocados. If there was 3 of us, I would add a half a tomato to kind of stretch it a little bit, or more avocado. But if you need to stretch it, you can always put a tomato in, and that will stretch your guacamole. All right. So the next thing that's going in here is 1 clove of garlic. There's my garlic. I just cut it in half and put my garlic in here. Don't put more than 1 in, okay? As much as I love garlic, you don't want that much more garlic. It'll be too much. Now, I don't use onion in mine, so I just use garlic. So that's a personal preference. Like I said, you can do whatever you feel is necessary. All right. Vital ingredients. About a tablespoon of lime juice. About a teaspoon of sea salt. Because avocados taste like nothing if they don't have lime and sea salt in them, okay? Really, really important. And about 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground cumin. And that's it. People think guacamole is hard. It's really not hard. The hardest part is picking a ripe avocado. So you want it to be this color. So you don't want it to be green, okay? And when you feel it, it should have a little bit of give. Kind of give it a squeeze. If it doesn't have any give, you have a day or 2 before it's ready. If it's really squishy, don't buy it because the inside will be brown, okay? All right, there we go on that. Let me give my peppers and onions a good swirl here. Oops, I need to turn them way down. Have them up real high. Oh good, they're nice and brown, which is the way I like them. Onions are getting nice and toasty. And our timer is getting ready to go off. There it goes. So we're going to pull this off. Be careful because sometimes this handle's hot, okay? And we're going to flip this chicken over. Look how beautiful it is. That was 4 minutes. We're going to cook it another 4 minutes on this side. It'll be cooked completely all the way through. It'll be nice and juicy because the juices will have gotten locked into the inside by searing it on the outside. That way it locks the juices in and it cooks it. And you want to cook it at a high heat. Whoop, there goes the smoke detector. I told you guys we forgot to open the windows before we started. And welcome to cooking at Michelle's house. This always happens. Every time I use my grill pan, my smoke detector goes off. It's just what it is. When I first started Pampered Chef, I was such a poor cook that the smoke detector used to go off all the time. Didn't matter what I was doing. It seemed like it was constantly going off. And my husband used to just tell people, "Oh, dinner's ready." You know, was just a normal occurrence in our house. So don't think because you can't cook, you can't be a Pampered Chef. I'm proof that we can teach you. We can teach anyone to cook. Oh, thanks so much for joining me. Have a great evening. If you like this video, please go ahead and share it so your friends get to watch it too. Because you know what? This is a great dinner. Think about it. It had a total of maybe 2 tablespoons of olive oil in it. The whole recipe. It's peppers and onions, which are healthy, avocados, which are healthy, and garlic and chicken. You know, I mean, we're going to add probably a little bit of grated cheese, but you can skip that if you don't want it. And you can eat it in a tortilla or not. It's a very healthy meal. It's very easy. Forget eating it at a restaurant. Eat it at home from now on. Thanks for joining me.